Today, Precarious plays
Lost Kingdoms 2. Got it. Fossilized left leg of a dragon. I gotta complete my dragon collection, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important thing in this game.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna be a scamp, though, and start over with the same deck. Because you are not meaningfully penalized. And in this scenario, it might actually be just of a benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, and don't you have to go fewer places now? Well, it doesn't matter. The one thing that I was thinking about this premise, and I feel kind of silly now for not thinking of it as particularly special.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that comes from having little enchanted objects, like in D&D and so many other things, like battle goats and stuff. Ooh. This reminds me of Seath the Scaleless.
Oh.
Or that rotting one that I don't remember his name, but he was totally, like, decomposed.
Oh, yeah, just the one that was in Valley of Drakes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this has...
In the dragon butts?
Yeah, in the dragon butts. But no, now that he's breathing and doing his attacks, it seems he reminds me of the decomposing one. What was his name? Do you remember?
What do you mean? Like, I don't think that it had a name. It was just... Oh, wait, do you mean the one in the sewers? The gaping dragon?
No, I mean the rotted one. I mean the one that was, like, partially decomposed. That was, like, gross and mostly purple and black and looked like that.
In Dark Souls?
Yeah, in Dark Souls.
It wasn't a boss that had a name. Are you talking about the one that
It might not have been the boss that had a name. I just assumed that since...
Was it the one in a narrow valley?
It was a very sad creature.
And only its front half was on, like, the edge of a canyon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a decayed undead dragon. It doesn't have a name. Like... I feel like this was the intention. I feel like this is canon.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so silly to think about, but that enemy is repeated in a couple of different places. And in Lost Izalith, you find, like, disembodied stompy legs.
Yeah.
And I swear that those are dragon butts that have been separated from their top halves.
So like somebody ran through that realm and was like, nope, these in half. And then put them in two different places?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure, fine.
That's always been my headcanon, and I refuse to check.
No,
Otherwise.
I mean, it's not like so much stuff makes so much sense. It's a lot like...
If anything, that makes too much sense.
Yes. I mean...
It makes 16 dragon butts worth of sense.
So here's what I'm trying to get at. I didn't think this was special.
Right.
And the reason for that is because I'm always...
And for this you will be punished! Cards! Just gonna throw cards at you for the rest of the session.
Flip. 52 pickup!
I was about to do a 52 pickup joke.
Go!
52 pickup burst mode! Pow!
Oh, I remember the first... Okay, this is a tangent and we're not going to go down it, but...
That's my EX burst.
Yeah. So, you were trying to explain this game to me. Well, not this game, but Lost Kingdom's original recipe. Mm-hmm. When you explained it to me, you were like, you're this person, and you have a runestone.
You're a princess.
You're a princess, and you have a runestone that powers cards that have monsters and spirits and animals trapped in them, and you use those cards sort of as your weapons and to fight and to do stuff. And I was like, yeah, huh? So... It didn't faze me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, just yes. And it's very simply because I am such a fan of fantasy things. Like, having objects of power with like spirits and creatures trapped in them is just like, yeah, huh? Okay. Like, you're like, there's this little set of figurine animals in D&D that are like battle goats and you can summon them, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Cool.
Sure.
Where do I
on.
get mine?
Right.
So this doesn't, it's not like a strange idea, but like the more we've talked about it today, the more I'm like, you know, I guess.
It's like, yeah, okay, monsters in bowls, that's fine. Call it pocket monsters. Gonna wear it on the belt if it's all the same to you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't
What else you got?
I don't see why not. Well, and I mean, just think of totem poles and totems in general.
Mm-hmm.
They're like some of the oldest art pieces that exist, and they're meaningful because they hold the spirits of animals and deities. I mean, like, we've been doing this forever, okay? We're like, here's a rock, but this is actually a god. Carry this around with you. And everybody's like, yes, we will put it in a building with high ceilings.
Just in case. Just in case it decides to you know, be full size.
And crack back open. Yeah,
Right.
You don't know. You don't want that thing going off in a small room.
I love that we're talking about gods like hand grenades.
Well,
or like what, like a smoker, or no, like a grill.
pressure cooker.
Yeah.
A pressure cooker. You don't want to keep that pressure cooker. Like, well, I mean,
Oh, duh. See, this is another fairy that's in the know.
everybody knows.
Is all jaded and shit. Everybody knows if you take two vampire bushes and put them out together, they turn into one giant vampire tree. Duh.
Yeah, I don't think everybody knows that, but I'm glad you were so pompous enough to share that in that way.
But I love that attitude, though, because it's like, yeah, duh. It's one vampire bush, two vampire tree. You get four of them together, you get a vampire forest. Keep
Yeah.
up.
I like the idea. The thing that I like most about this, these cards and this character, although maybe it's not quite as I'm seeing it, but like, I like the idea of summoning creatures to do battle with you instead of for you. Although she doesn't really get, until this game, she doesn't really get a lot of her own swipiness, but she becomes some of the cards as well now, you know?
Her own swipiness?
Swipiness, attacks, her own damaging abilities.
What does she use in the intro? Like the big one is definitely Birdman. I don't really remember. I think she might use Will-O-Wisp to blow something up.
But the fact that it's her blood on the line and not theirs makes it feel a lot more like camaraderie-ness.
I don't know. Like I would like to. I'd like to know if the monsters in the cards. You know what? I'd like to know if the monsters outside of the cards are particularly aware. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess some of them have to be because.
Like, remember that dragon that we freed that was like, I am destruction. I will bring you the gift of sacred destruct. And I'm like, could you be growth? Could you give me sacred growth? How about sacred leave me alone?
Just a good old sacred tall ceiling.
Yeah.
You can go off over there.
You know.
I'll be over here.
Yeah. So I guess that's why I was just like kind of dismissive about the specialness of this premise, but I do like it quite a lot.
Well, that's one of the reasons. This is going to sound like a weird segue, but it's one of the reasons why I don't really look up too many professional reviews anymore. I try to distill I try to distill judgment. If like there's a video game or something that I'm on the fence about, making a purchasing decision, I don't bother looking up very many professional reviews because the experience reviewers are interested in are almost certainly distorted in some fashion just sort of like necessarily, because I feel like the most obvious ones, like the ones that you can just say and it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I feel like it'd probably be pretty easy to become novelty obsessed.
Oh yeah, like, oh, finally something new.
Right.
Finally. Even regardless of whether or not it's good. Just thank goodness there's a new switchy-do here.
Right, there's a new
toggle thing.
There's a new thing that is similar enough to what I'm familiar with that it didn't pile on too much work earlier this week. But it is novel enough that, like, I think light, snacky novelty. That's the other one. It's experiences that you can get into early in the week. Get through early in the week so you still have time to write about it in the second half of the week alongside whatever other games or movies that you have to review during the same period of time. Yeah, and I think that the intersection of those two, where it's like novelty and convenience, I feel like those games are favored, and those games oftentimes interest me the least.
Yeah, that does not sound like qualities that you're attracted to in gaming, like...
Not necessarily. Not usually.
I mean, it's not the worst, but you're not like, I want a quick and easy game with a couple new bells and whistles that I can forget about quickly.
Well, I'm trying to think of a specific example. It looked really cute, and it got my attention because it actually tripped the Katamari sensor.
Oh yeah.
Donut County, I think. Have you seen it?
No.
It's this game where you are in control of like a fissure, like a hole in the ground.
Oh, a fissure.
A fissure, yes.
Yeah, like, okay.
A hole in the ground, and as things fall in the hole, it grows larger until eventually you're like sucking up water towers and homes.
Okay.
So it's that Katamari
So you're just
feeling.
like a big old sinkhole?
Yeah, like an intelligent one.
Okay.
You're in an intelligent sinkhole.
No, that does feel Katamari-like, yeah.
But it doesn't have quite the same. Once I investigated it, it doesn't really have the same appeal because there's kind of, it's almost more like a more strict puzzle game because you can really only like pull stuff in one particular way. Anyway, I'm getting into too much detail. I think that game sort of reviewed more favorably than it might have deserved, just because it kind of like gives you the whole picture straight away, and for a reviewer that has other shit to do that week, maybe that hits that nice sweet spot of like, oh, okay, visually appealing, it's got a cute aesthetic, a novel idea, and I can beat it in 4 hours.